Royals baseball from Kauffman Stadium, and we expect another big crowd tonight for Game 2 between the Royals and the Cubs, with Chicago winning last night 3-1. Hi everyone, welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Joel and Monty will be coming up. Well, it was a loss, but Royals pitching did a pretty good job against the best offense in the National League, holding the Cubs to just 3 runs, and now the baton is passed to Brad Keller. He'll face the Northsiders tonight. He was pretty good against the Southsiders in his last start.
He was, and it's because of that lively action on his fastball that's helping him with the success. 2 seamers down in the zone. He's got some pretty good sink, but the impressive part about Keller this year in his debut as a starter is the natural cut he gets on that fastball. Sometimes it cuts in, sometimes it goes away, but natural movement is good and can really upset the timing of the hitter. It's been working so far. Hopefully, Keller will be stellar.
The Royals Rule 5 draftee will be matched up tonight against a former Royals first-round pick, lefty Mike Montgomery. Baseball, and tonight the fans will get a t-shirt with the 85 and 2015 championship rosters. Try to imagine 10 years ago the Royals getting to the World Series, and you figure Mike Montgomery would be on the roster. He was a first-round pick for the Royals 10 years ago, now with the Chicago Cubs. And let's go back to last night. Your key against Cole Hamels was to get a good fastball to hit. Same key tonight against Mike Montgomery?
Yeah, it is, because the numbers don't lie. They tell the story. When the number's over 350, that's when you got to really pay attention. Now, the Royals last night, they tagged a few of Hamels' balls, but they just didn't get them enough. They were able to look them up like the rest of the league has. That's what you do. 345 opponent average. The rest of the league's pounding them. Pick out a piece of cheese, cheddar or soft cheese, white
provolone.
Cheese. It doesn't matter.
Swiss.
You just can't miss it. Right down the middle of the plate. That's what they call it in the business. Cheese, and pick you out some and like it.
Let's talk hitting when we come back. Hunter Dozier has a career-high hitting streak. Joel and Monty will discuss.
start of the year and his career. 33rd appearance, coming off of a win against Chicago, looking for another win against Chicago. Got the White Sox now trying to beat the first place Cubs. Joel Goldberg, Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery, and amidst all of the losing and now 5 straight, you find things to be positive about, little pieces of growth and improvement, and maybe we're seeing some of that with Hunter Dozier, who has the longest hitting streak of his career going.
And that's one of the largest objectives of this season, to try to find out what are young guys, which guys that don't have a lot of experience can contribute at this level, what guys can do the job. And Hunter Dozier, we've seen a 7-game hitting streak for him now, career high. Like the way he's seeing the ball, like the way he's hitting the ball. Want to see more production with guys in scoring position. That will come, but the more hits you get, the better opportunities you get in the middle part of that lineup. We've seen it the last couple of nights with Hunter Dozier.
Hitless in his last 13 at-bats with runners in scoring position. Last hit in that situation July 3rd. So that is the next step. We have seen good defense on both sides so far. 1 game into the series. Gordon, Baez getting it done. More coming up from the K.
Kansas City is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket played gives back to Missouri schools. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And by Chevrolet, the most awarded and fastest growing brand the last 4 years overall. Find yours at your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. Last night, Jacob Junis and the Royals bullpen held the Cubs to just 3 runs, but Cole Hamels and the Cubs bullpen held the Royals to just 1 run. It's Brad Keller and Mike Montgomery tonight. The lineups and the first pitch are coming up next. Over into the early afternoon today, but is left behind a mostly sunny sky and 87 degrees. Here's the GMC Cubs lineup. Joe Maddon has made some changes. Javier Baez will bat second tonight, and he'll be at second base. David Bodie will be at third. He'll bat fifth. Ian Happ shifts over to center field, and tonight's catcher is Victor Caratini. And Brad Keller coming off an excellent start against the Chicago White Sox with a career high 9 strikeouts. But he also does a good job, Hub, keeping the ball on the ground.
Absolutely. Now, that's not for his attitude, stay grounded. Very humble young man. Don't mistake that. He's a ground ball pitcher. 55% ground ball rate. That's one of the tops in the majors for the amount of innings pitched. He does a great job with his 2-seam and 4-seam fastball, keeping it down against the powerful Cubs. He'll need to. Forward around the horn, Royals defense. We're going to highlight Rosell Herrera. Rosie's making his 11th start in center field. He loves to play the territory in center field with the best of them. And Salvador Perez leads all major league catchers with a 50% throw and out stealing rate. It's been really fun to watch him throw this year.
Waiting for the clock to turn to 7:15 as Anthony Rizzo digs in, and had been swinging the bat very well since moving into the leadoff spot, but he was hitless last night. 0 for 4. He did reach with a walk, and with that we are ready to go. Keller's first pitch is outside for ball 1. One ball, one strike. It's been almost a month since Joe Maddon moved Rizzo, who usually bats in the middle of the order, to the leadoff spot. And during that stretch, his on-base percentage is over .450. High fastball is fouled away, 1-2.
Yeah, you know, he's not your prototypical leadoff guy. Joe Maddon likes to have guys on. Second, third time he comes up, there's usually the bottom of the order that are on base. He's a very productive hitter.
In the air to left field, Alex Gordon is there. Twice last night, Alex took care of Rizzo. 1 away. Keller had it pretty easy against the White Sox on Thursday. He faced the minimum 3 batters in 4 of 7 innings. Never really was in much trouble. And it was a bounce back for him because he had a bad start against the White Sox. But he had the answer on Thursday. Now we'll see how he does against Javier Baez. A rare take by Javier Baez, our Toyota League leaders. Only Jorge Alfaro of the Philadelphia Phillies has a higher swing percentage than Javier Baez. So he swings to the next pitch and rolls it into center field. And he's on with 1 out.
Took the first one, might have jammed in the movement he had. Now that slider just stayed up right there, and he's able to hit that with no problem because it was elevated.
So 1 on 1 out to Ben Zobrist. He had a standing ovation when he was announced before his first at bat last night, and then he chipped in with 2 hits and a run scored. .311 batting average. That's 5th in the National League. He has the 3rd best on base percentage in the NL. And he comes into this series swinging the bat well. He's the subject of our Kubota power stats over his last 8. .469 average with an extra base hit in each of those 8 games. Good spot, 0-1.
Smart hitter. He's also patient. Zobrist, this time in his career, he knows exactly what pitches he can handle and which ones he can't. He'll feast on anything soft up in the zone like he did last night when he turned on a pitch for his 17th double.
Oh, and 2.
Oh, that was a 3-bagger. Excuse me. That was his second triple on the season.
Just outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Keller has to be mindful of Baez over at first base. You don't have to worry only about his bat. He will run. And he has a good lead, and there he goes. And Zobrist on a 1-2 pitch cranks it to deep right field, and the Royals deked Baez. The Royals have a chance to get an out at second. They're not able to, but Baez ran with his head down. He had no idea where the ball was, and he barely gets to third base on a ball that went to the fence.
That could be a break. Zobrist is talking to his bench mates on the bench there, but this is a great job by Merrifield. Mondesi, look at him. They're deking him. They're tricking him. They're acting. He didn't know where the ball was. By the time he picks it up, he heads back to first base. Certainly, he had to know that ball was clocked well by the sound of it, but Royals tricked him. See Mondesi. Mondesi's looking where the ball is. Javi just couldn't pick it up.
Royals were taking another look at that play to make sure that Baez did touch up and didn't miss second base when he was rerouted. So second and third, 1 out. And Jason Hayward, who bats cleanup tonight, which seemed impossible a couple of years ago when he was struggling in his first year with the Cubs.
Been working on his hands, using his hands more than his body. He's swinging a lot with his lower half. It seemed like he couldn't put the two together this year. Chili Davis has helped him. Look at some video of his successful days back in his Cardinal years.
Oh, and 2, and that got Salvi.
But he's being a lot more aggressive with runners in scoring position. Is one of the reasons why he's hitting in a prominent spot. 4th in the best National League team. He's hitting .313 with runners in scoring position. Staying aggressive.
With 1 out, Baez singled, and then Zobrist doubled. Chop to first. That is a foul ball.
That's a good thing. Really, all he has to do with the infield playing back at Hayward is just make a little contact, get a run home. Keller would love a strikeout. Just 54 and 82 1/3 innings coming into this game. Not really a power pitcher, although he could be if he focused more on that 4-seamer up in the zone. See if he can get one by him. He's got a decent secondary pitch in his slider. Doesn't use his changeup a whole lot, just 4%.
Chop to third. Escobar is going to come to the plate. Baez hits the brakes, and he's out. And no advance by Zobrist, so the Royals still have a force at any base.
Okay, this is a great job. Baez put the brakes on. Salvi could read him. He was turning and going. And after the tag, a nice little courtesy hug. And he's got to go. He caught him. Good job. So far, a little break early in this inning here. Keeping the Cubs off the board.
And this is David Bodie. And that's hit well to right field. Bonifacio is back, and it's just over his glove. So 2 breaks for the Royals, but Bodie gets a big hit with 2 down, and Chicago leads 2-0.
Bonifacio had an excellent read on it. Took a good break another time. Now this is the second time that that slider's been hit in this inning, and it's been elevated. Just kind of a cement mixer. Opposite field. Looked like he got a little ticky-two on it with his glove. Too bad he couldn't glove it. So they were able to get a couple of runs.
Kyle Schwarber with a runner at third, and he's after a fastball at 96. He was 0 for 3 last night with an intentional walk. He has back-to-back 20 home run seasons, and it's 0-2. .97 miles an hour. So a 3-pitch strikeout to end the inning. But David Bodie comes up with a big 2-out, 2-run triple to put the Cubs in front. Nothing. Bottom of the first inning. And now the Royals GMC batting order. This is the second straight game that the Royals will face a lefty, so Ned Yost is going to stick with Brett Phillips, Lucas Duda, and Ryan O'Hearn, all left-hand batters on the bench, against Mike Montgomery, Royals first-round compensation pick back in 2008, and by 2010 he was considered the Royals' #1 pitching prospect. Fastball strike to Whit Merrifield.
That's the one they want. See if you can pick it out, because his secondary pitches have been good. Leave him alone. Change up, curveball, both under 200 against the opponents. The fastball, that's a different story.
And Whit got on top of a fastball and hit a laser beam to left field, but right at Ben Zobrist.
Cubs are pretty good defensively. Where's Ben Zobrist? He's out in left today. He's had starts at first, second, some left and right. And in 93 games, he's only made 1 error. Anthony Rizzo, man, he's a well-decorated veteran. He's a 3-time All-Star. He's gold, silver slugger. He won a platinum gold glove in 16. He's got skills, and Baez is over at second tonight.
Alex Gordon hits it well to left field. And Zobrist got turned around, but ends up making the play. 2 hard hit outs.
Man, how could he be playing in there?
Well, coincidence or otherwise, Mike Montgomery in our Kia Drive to Success has been outstanding against his original organization. He never got to the big leagues with the Royals. He was involved in the Wade Davis James Shields trade, going from the Royals to Tampa Bay, from there to Seattle, and from Seattle to the Cubs. Fastball for a strike to Salvador Perez. Another hard hit ball. That one makes its way into center field. So Montgomery in the first inning isn't fooling anybody, but he has 2 outs.
Got 2-0 lead. He wants to try to establish that fastball. I mean, Royals are jumping on it. That's 92 again. He's not going to overpower you. That's about his average on both his sinker and 4-seamer. So he'll 2 for it, and that 2-seam sinker's thrown with the 2 fingers up on top of the seams, and the 4-seam is when it's across. Both pitches are 2 different pitches. 2-seamer's designed to sink a little more. The 4-seamer stays straighter up.
Ball 1 on Hunter Dozier, who had 2 more hits last night. Breaking balls up and away, 2-0.
There's the pitches is what he likes to use. That sinker, that 4-seamer, those are 2 fastballs I was talking about, but the changeups, they've been good. Fades away from the righty.
3 balls, no strikes. Good spot on 3-0, and Dozier looked like he was ready to swing if he liked the pitch.
Take a look at him. It's okay. Same situation. You know, you can get that green light. That ball's down, and he don't think he wanted that. Only way 3-0 really is the cookie in the middle. Don't want to miss it. But 3-1, same situation.
Shot foul. 3 balls, 2 strikes. See what Victor Caratini calls for here. Going to go with a changeup. And it's up and away for ball 4. So with 2 outs, the Royals get a single and a walk. It put 2 on for Rosell Herrera. These are new numbers for Mike Montgomery, who has always been better in relief than as a starter. So he's spent a chunk of his career pitching out of the bullpen, but he's getting consistent starts this year, and that's why those numbers are getting better. This is his 13th start after joining the rotation at the end of May. Breaking ball strike to Rosell Herrera. He scored the Royals run last night, leading off the 2nd inning with a single. Escobar got him home with 2 outs, and that would be the only run that the Royals scored. Almost got him on the back foot. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's where what he wants to do to get that swing and miss and swing over the top of it. By keeping that breaking ball down. Most lefties all facing a lot of right-handers. That's one of the premium pitches they like to use, the breaker down.
Another one. And Herrera looked like he was guessing on that pitch. 1-2.
When they see that, Saratini, the catcher, they see that, and they'll throw it again until you can lay off of it. Herrera wants to knock in a run. He's a .333 hitter with a runner in scoring position.
Good adjustment. 2-2. Merrifield line to left. Gordon flied out to deep left. And Royals had two good swings right away against Montgomery, but out. And then Salvador Perez single to center. Hunter Dozier walked. And that's pulled foul. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yet to throw Herrera a fastball. He's going with his breaking balls and his changeup.
Very balanced on both sides of the plate. 265 from one side, 267 from the other side. Three and two.
Yeah, this is a good, nice at bat here, but anything close, don't want to put the pressure on the umpire to ring you up. Go ahead and swing. Runner in scoring position. Try to knock him in.
Montgomery taking a long look at the signs, finally comes up with one. The runners are going, and Herrera got a fastball and bloops it to shallow right. Baez is out, and he's got it. Had to avoid his sliding right fielder Hayward. So the Cubs got a big hit with 2 outs in the top of the first, but Montgomery holds off the Royals in the bottom of the first.
At the top of the second inning. If you enjoy Miller Lite, look forward to the whole true moment later in tonight's game.
Cubs got a 2-out, 2-run triple from David Bodie. And now they'll have Ian Happ, Addison Russell, and Victor Caratini in the second inning. Back to Keller, who made that look a lot easier than it is.
Yep, good reaction time. You see where Mondesi was. He was right there, but you know, Keller, it's almost like nonchalant. Oh, good thing he kept his right hand away from that line drive. Looked like he wanted to two-hand it.
Upstairs to Addison Russell, Cubs shortstop. He had 2 hits last night. Two and 0. There's that natural cut to Keller's fastball, which will move away from a right-hand batter. And if you ask Brad how he does it, he couldn't tell you. It's just the way the ball comes out of his hand.
Yeah, that's a real plus. He can have natural movement. Ooh, that didn't miss by much. Natural movement. Sometimes it'll cut in too, but most of the time it's going away. And that's a good thing to have a pitch that's natural like that. Just be able to ride it. Only thing that's hurt him tonight is that slider. He's hung a couple of sliders, just spun right up in the top of the zone, and the Cubs didn't miss it. It's that four-seamer. Talking about the sinker, those are 2 excellent pitches he keeps down. One of the reasons why they're hitting a lot of ground balls off of it.
Victor Caratini. Well hit to center. Herrera gets turned around, and that's a smooth play. 2 outs. Talking about making a difficult play look easy.
A lot of guys would panic on that. Watch him. He gets turned around. The ball. You try to turn the right way if he's an outfielder, but if you don't, you turn with your face to the back of the wall, just like that. That's just how they teach that. On a play directly over your head like that. I mean, you can see guys that go against the grain and try to turn the other way. Sometimes you get your feet twisted up, but that was very smooth, just like you said.
Didn't change his route. Didn't break stride.
Been very impressed with his outfield plays. Roots are perfect.
Anthony Rizzo flied to left to begin the game. That makes him 0 for 5 in the series. Keller trying to freeze Russell. Gets a ground ball to shallow right. And Witt throws him out. Nice bounce back for Keller. He faces 4 batters, but throws only 8 pitches.
That drafted him here at Kauffman Stadium, and Joel Goldberg down by the Royals dugout. One publication back in 2011 described the Royals as having an embarrassment of riches. The description was about lefty Mike Montgomery, lefty Danny Duffy, lefty John Lamb, along with left-hander Chris Dwyer, and Mike Jerschele managed all of those left-handers at AAA Omaha, talking to him about it today. In terms of the first three lefties, Montgomery, Duffy, and Lamb, all three California lefties. He said they were what you would expect, stereotypical lefties, a little bit quirky with a lot of talent. As for Montgomery, he said that he had amazing stuff, ace type of stuff. Command was what he was working on that he needed to fix at that point. But Jersch saying that they expected all of those three pitchers, including Dwyer too, to be in the Royals rotation. It didn't work out that way. You never know the path they're going to take. Duffy has been the most successful. Montgomery leads to James Shields in the 2014 title. And of course, John Lamb led to, in part, to Johnny Cueto and the World Series. So it all worked out in the end, but Mike Jerschele had that early look.
2-1 on Bonifacio. The game I'll always remember, he pitched a spring training game in 2011. We were in Goodyear and the Royals were facing the Reds. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and the Reds were loaded with left-hand power hitters. Joey Votto, Adam Dunn, Jay Bruce.
Yep.
And here comes Mike Montgomery out of the Royals bullpen in that game, and I mean, he just embarrassed those 3 guys.
Nice.
I mean, literally made them look bad. Great changeup. Bonifacio strikes out, and of course it's the exciting part and the unfair part of this game when we need to compare a young guy to somebody before him, and usually it's somebody who's great. But I remember Bob McClure said he hadn't seen anyone throw with Montgomery's angle with that kind of a power since Chuck Finley.
Wow. That is high praise.
Really good long career as a left-hand pitcher.
Sure did. But the one pitch that Finley had that hardly anybody else has been able to master since really is a split finger, really dominant from a lefty. An excellent split finger that helped him get many a strikeout. But he was a bulldog type of pitcher.
0-2 against Mondesi. Montgomery went from the Royals to the Rays in what was first known as the James Shields trade, but probably when it's all said and done, it'll be known as the Wade Davis trade. And as fate would have it, they share something in common. Mondesi strikes out. Both of those guys ended up closing out a World Series. Wade Davis in 15 and Mike Montgomery in 2016, ending that 108-year World Series championship drought. Ben Zobrist was jumping around for a 2nd season in a row. There's Jason Hamill running out of the dugout in Cleveland. So both of those guys ended up closing out a World Series.
It's pretty special moment, no doubt. Doesn't happen very often. Shoot. I had a chance to talk with Mike yesterday before he went out to do some exercises, threw a little bit of light throwing on the side, and I said, man, what was it like? He said it's been a real whirlwind for him. And he said he's much more mature and he's learned so much, but he really appreciated the opportunity that he was given by both organizations, the Royals and then the Tampa Bay Rays, Seattle. But he's a lot older now. He's 29 and he really feels like he's coming to his own. I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, I'm bringing in all the new stuff like this. I'm learning about spin rate. I'm learning about arm slot. I'm learning about different ways that I can improve at my age. And I said, well, how do you improve your spin rate? He said, with my grip. I've been toying with some grips. There you go.
Escobar is on with 2 outs. And truth be told, that was one of the problems for Mike Montgomery. You talk about maturing. When he was in the Royals organization, they had a tough time getting through to him. Speaking of spin rate, he has a very low spin rate, which creates a movement and what people would call a heavy pitch. Feels like you're hitting a lead pipe. But he was stubborn at times. He had his own personal pitching coach, and so there was always a conflict of, you know, the Royals are trying to teach him some things, but he was being coached otherwise. But by and large, you will hear mostly good things about Mike Montgomery when he was in the Royals organization. 2-0 Cubs at the end of 2.
Third inning at the K. Help us celebrate the Royals' first World Series title with the 1985 World Series Champions Replica Trophy given away, presented by Old Dominion. The first 15,000 fans through the gate Saturday will receive the replica trophy before watching the Royals host the Cardinals at 6:15. Visit Royals.com to purchase your tickets.
Two 2-0 Cubs on a David Bodie 2-out 2-run triple. Javier Baez singled in the first inning and then was out on a rundown in between third and home. Zobrist and Hayward came around to score the runs. One ball, one strike. We were showing you the high percentage of swings for Javier Baez. Second highest percentage in the major leagues. Number 3 is Salvador Perez. So you got a guy who loves to swing the bat, trying to find a way to get another guy who loves to swing the bat out.
Just keep the ball down on him. He likes that ball up. He's got a good level swing. Good level swing, guys. They got a good clean path. That's why he's hitting for a lot more power this year. Level, comes down through, finishes with a little bit of lift, so that launch angle that's more popular today than it's ever been.
He drove in 2 last night. He leads the National League in that category. Most extra base hits, highest slugging percentage, most total bases, 6th in stolen bases, and he's an excellent defender. That ball got by Keller, but it might have been a good thing because Merrifield was right there to throw him out.
Keller, like a lot of young pitchers, will have to learn on those balls that far to his left and right. Those are routine outs by his infield. It's a good thing he didn't tip it, you know, tick it or delay the ball and turn it into an infield hit.
It's a hard thing to coach out of a pitcher.
Yeah.
Ben Zobrist doubled to right field on a 1-2 pitch in the first inning. In what turned out to be a break for the Royals because Baez was running on the pitch with his head down and he didn't see where the ball was. He should have scored, but he ended up stopping at third. Then the Royals got an out at the plate and Keller was very close to getting out of that without allowing a run, but then David Bodie hit the 2-run triple. Two balls, one strike. StatCast AI, powered by AWS. And Zobrist as a left-hand batter. 3 balls and 1 strike. And he's balanced from both sides of the plate.
He is average wise, but he's hitting for a lot more pop from the left side of the plate. Gets more at bats.
And you could hear Ben in his very diplomatic and respectful way. I've got that pitch down. Doug Eddings is a home plate umpire.
You notice though he held on to his bat. He waited that extra split second. That changeup that Keller just threw the previous pitch, that's going to help him. He needs to continue to use that pitch the best he can, because he's going to face some lefties. It's even decent on righties, but get more comfortable with that and just have 2 pitches outside of his 2 and 4 seamer. Just using it 4% of the time.
Zobrist ends up with a walk. Keller's second. Fox Sports Kansas City, KJO 105.5 and Suddenlink are bringing St. Joseph's best fans to Kauffman Stadium coming up on August the 11th. That's Saturday with the Cardinals in town. For more information, go to Royals.com/Fan Express, and we hope to see you here. One-on-one out to Jason Hayward. We were talking about how it would be far-fetched 2 years ago to tell Cubs fans, hey, you know, Jason Hayward is going to bat cleanup in a couple of years, because his first year in Chicago was a disaster at the plate. Inside for ball 1.
Yeah, if you'd have told Cubs fans back then, a few years from now, he's going to be your number 4 hitter, they would probably have laughed you out of town. This game is just not that easy. It takes time to figure things out, and when you have a long-term contract, it's easier. Got him there.
Not even close. Could have been a hit and run, because Zobrist was looking in the whole way and Hayward swung at a pitch that was down and out of the strike zone.
Probably what it was, but good call by Salvador Perez, but he won't have an easier throw out the rest of the year. That was nice. And look at Mondesi. Mondesi's been doing a good job of putting tags on runners. Zobrist looking the whole way, obviously was a hit and run.
I would bet your right arm that was a hit and run.
Sure enough. You wouldn't want my right arm. That was my weakest tool.
So now Salvi's up over 50%. And Keller gets a strikeout. So he faces only 3 in the top of the 3rd inning. Chicago leads 2-0. go to Amy Herman. And after learning about middle school children who were going home hungry on the weekends, Amy quickly partnered with Mission Southside to provide food for 32 kids every weekend in southern Johnson County. Mission Southside has provided back snacks to more than 250 middle and high school students. After volunteering for several years, Amy is now the Community Development Director for Mission Southside and sitting in the Buck O'Neill legacy seat at tonight's game.
It's fantastic work, Amy. Congratulations on making a difference. Yeah.
Whit Merrifield got all over a Mike Montgomery fastball in the first inning and hit a shot to left field. Nothing new for him. He has the best line drive rate against left-hand pitchers in the major leagues, but he hit it right to Ben Zobrist. Long run, Hayward, and a sliding play. Hayward caught the ball, and Rizzo was ready to catch Hayward.
A lot of right fielders can't get to this play here. We see that ball drop more times than not. Rizzo giving good effort. He yielded. They know all about Hayward and his speed. Listen, he's yelling loud too. That's important. They all backed off. No collisions.
On his way to Gold Glove number 6.
I can't believe that Zobrist caught that line shot first time Alex Gordon was up. Look where he is. His back's against the wall over there. How would he know to play Alex like that? He took an extra base from him. Outfielder plays that deep, tells me he's a lot more comfortable coming in on a ball than going back on one.
Two balls and one strike. Speaking of 5 Gold Gloves, Alex Gordon.
There it is.
And a dive, and Russell couldn't get it.
That's right. They're going to play you that deep.
And those 2 famous words, that's baseball.
Yeah, that's right. It's not how hard you hit it, it's where you hit it, obviously. And that fastball on his hands, he's able to put it exactly right there. Talked about Zobrist playing deep. Nice drive by Russell.
And now Alex has hit safely in 8 of his last 9 games and batting .252. Salvi singled to center field in the first inning. We had an interesting discussion with Ned Yost about Salvador Perez and Javier Baez, guys that swing at everything. And so a pitcher knows, don't throw him a strike. You don't have to throw guys like this a strike. But pitchers don't practice throwing balls way out of the strike zone.
No, they don't.
So they're always working on their mechanics. They're always working on their control. And usually if they're going to miss, you don't want to miss by much. And so sometimes it's easier said than done to ask a pitcher, okay, throw a slider way out of the strike zone to this guy.
Makes sense.
Ed was saying he learned that from Greg Maddux. Greg Maddux used to get knocked around by Vladimir Guerrero, and when Ned was coaching for the Braves, he asked Greg Maddux, what's your problem, man? I mean, you have the best control in the game. You know, why can't you pitch around this guy? And he said, his mechanics would not allow him to throw a pitch way out of the strike zone. Russell goes way out from short, and he'll make the play on Salvador Perez.
Yeah, and as bad a ball hitter as Vladimir Guerrero was, just got inducted in the Hall of Fame a couple weeks ago, you would think that you would throw him right down the middle, but he hit everything. He just was ready to swing the bat.
Hunter Dozier took a walk with 2 down in the first inning. Change up for a strike. Kevin Cedergan, our producer, is reminding me about all the pitchers that struggled to intentionally walk a hitter.
Remember that? They used to have that. They don't do it anymore.
But I mean, there weren't a lot of guys who were terrible at it, but there were plenty of guys who looked really uncomfortable during unintentional walk, which to me was the only entertaining part about the intentional walk, when you get the one guy that might throw it up into the broadcast booth.
And the crowd reaction was always great.
Yep.
Wow.
Change up is outside, 2-1. High and tight, but on the edge of the strike zone, 2-2, and it's pretty clear what the Cubs are trying to do to Hunter Dozier. Remember last night, Cole Hamels, one pitch after another in on Dozier.
Yep, a little lower part of the zone with a changeup, but they're definitely challenging him.
And then change speeds on him. That's Montgomery's 3rd strikeout. We played 3. The Cubs lead 2-0. Two 2-0 Cubs to the 4th inning. Refreshing saves from Price Chopper and Aquafina. Sign up at mypricechopper.com/saves to save on Aquafina when the Royals get a save. David Bodie leads off. He has the 2-run triple tonight back in the 1st inning. He is a Colorado native who started his college career in Virginia at Liberty University and then to Neosho County Community College in Chanute. And that's where he was drafted by the Cubs in the 18th round in 2012. Back to the middle. Merrifield is right there. Keller hung a slider to Bodie back in the first inning. He went the other way for the 2-run triple. And that's the last hit that the Cubs have tonight.
Made that adjustment just on the side of the slider a couple pitches early. That's when pitchers get hurt a lot. Young pitchers or older pitchers, it just doesn't matter, but you got to find out what's working, and those 2 pitches didn't work for him. And those made him pay.
And after that hanging slider, Kyle Schwarber came up, and Keller went 96, 96, 97 and struck out Schwarber on 3 pitches. So that might have been fueled by some anger after giving up the triple.
I think it was, but it was controlled. Keller does a nice job of masking any of his emotions. They call that mound presence. He gets a high grade on that in that category.
95 miles an hour, 1-2. Nothing fancy here, Hud.
Right, he went right at him here. I think there was a little bit of anger to the pitches here.
What do they used to say? Good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Right, those are some grudge throws.
Brad has struck out 2. And he has walked 2. Just foul. Taken in by Drew Butera, making a 2nd consecutive start at first base. Two balls, 2 strikes. Schwarber was impressive in the home run derby. He hit 55 home runs in 3 rounds, but ended up losing to Bryce Harper.
I watched that. It was a good derby. Fans always make it good. Time limit, that's added a little bit of fun to it, taking their time out.
Struck him out with a fastball again. 2 outs in the 4th.
Mo lottery replay, high cheese, right by him. Keller right over the top. .6'5", 230. He has everything it takes to be a good starting pitcher, and he's got good opportunity here this year. Show what he can do. Only going to get better when he gets more command with his changeup, gets more confidence with it.
Ian Happ lined back to Keller. And it helped that he essentially hit it to Brad's glove. So a good reaction, but he didn't have to go very far with his glove to make the play. That's a swing, says home plate umpire Doug Eddings. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Happ has already struck out 123 times this year. Whoa. Mark Ripperger says no swing.
Hey, we've seen a lot of guys get rung up on that.
That's because it's a swing.
Exactly. Looked like it to me.
Some umpires use the front plane of the plate. Some use the baseline. And if the bat crosses either of those in an attempt to strike the baseball,
or if it even just looks like they swung at it, attempted to swing, it's totally their interpretation.
So Happ comes back from 1-2, and that's Keller's third walk tonight.
Help us celebrate the historic 2015 World Series championship with a Gold Threads replica jersey giveaway this Sunday, presented by Fox Sports Kansas City. First 15,000 fans through the gates will receive the giveaway before rooting on the boys in blue when they host the Cardinals at 1:15. Tickets available at Royals.com.
One of those fans had Joel's t-shirt on.
Yeah.
There it is. It's a bear suit, Joel.
It is.
Have you seen any of our shirts around town yet?
Matter of fact, I have not.
Neither have I.
Yeah. I know that there was good turnout, though.
Yeah. Oh, and 1 on Addison Russell. He was on with a walk in the second inning.
Happ, he's got some speed. He's got 5 steals in 6 attempts. Could try salvage, but Keller pretty quick home.
Right side was wide open, but Merrifield is over to close the hole and throw out Russell. So that's 3 straight scoreless innings for Keller since giving up 2 in the first.
Enjoying perhaps a first ever game. Time for our University of Kansas Health System injury report, and some good news, guys, on Jorge Soler. Talking to head trainer Nick Kenny today, cleared to put full weight on his foot. Remember, even on the last homestand, he was walking in a walking boot. But Nick telling me that doctors did his 6-week evaluation yesterday. They cleared him to start bearing full weight on his foot, and now he can progress to some hitting, running, and when I say running, jogging. He was doing a modifying version of that before, but what Nick said, it's a stepped progression, no timeline, and Nick always does a great job of putting this in layman's terms so we could all understand it. He said it like this: it's like the car went into the shop, they put it up on the lift, they checked everything out, they got their report, they put the tires back on, they've lowered that car, and now they're going to ease it back onto the road. Still a process to go, but positive steps, Nick said.
Wow, interesting analogy. I think it could work that way. We all understand that. but they sure could use his bat in that lineup.
And talking to some of the Cubs broadcasters, in particular Jim DeShays and Len Casper, who do the television broadcast, they wanted to know all about Jorge Soler. You know, how's he doing? How is he playing? Ricocheted perfectly over to Russell. 1-6-3, and it sounded like he got Montgomery right on the foot.
Some hard luck there for Rosell. Yep, trying to get out of the way of that. Look at this in the spin on that ball. Russell's able to stay with it and show some kind of arm strength, sidearm. Watch how it spins and kicks to his left. Bad luck. Would have been a clean single.
Outside to Bonifacio. He struck out on a changeup in the second inning. Trying to dig out of a deep slump. 6 for his last 55, and he has not driven in a run in his last 15 games. I asked Ned Yost if he thought maybe we're seeing some of the effects of missing half the season, which didn't apply when he first got back. He was swinging the bat well right away. And Ned said no, just going through a slump. Didn't make any connection to missing the first half of the season with the suspension.
Well, if you miss spring training, that's a real big factor there, because you never really get in a groove with any kind of live pitching. But still, 2 months, 3 months without seeing big league pitching, it's got to have its effect.
Still 2-2.
You know, I had a few spells like that on the disabled list, but when I came back, I was just a platoon player and faced lefties, and the managers that I played for, they put me in when they thought I could succeed. So they kind of helped me a little bit. Put me in against a soft tossing lefty and a few things like that. Bonifacio's been there every single day. That's a little bit different chore. He's facing tough righties and lefties. But that's, you know, that's what you want, though. He's a young player. They're trying to see what he can do and get him developed. It's not easy, but it's the best way. Throw him right in the fire. Get him hot. Hopefully that one doinker will do the job. See some pitches. That's the key always, to see as many as you can. It's going to help you for your next at bat. Hopefully he'll win this one, and that makes it even more better, and a little bit better. The confidence start happening then. More better. That's not good English, sorry. Even I knew that. Fall in there.
Baez.
Wow.
That was a more better play.
He's got tremendous speed. He's able to get that. I thought for sure off the end of the bat that was going to be the doinker that he needed. Baez took a perfect route right to it with some speed there. And I think Hayward and Baez, they know each other. They've been playing together for a while. And so the ball he caught earlier when Hayward slid, that was a close call, but doing a good job communicating. It's going and getting it.
Punted foul by Mondesi. He struck out on a changeup in the second inning.
That fastball beat in there. You got to get that bat head out front. Might have been anticipating a changeup or an off-speed pitch.
Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. We've been talking about him and his elite speed, and trying to run and bunt at the same time, which hasn't worked for him. And then in Minnesota, remember, he tried to put down a sacrifice bunt with 2 strikes, so he really had to hang in there. And it wasn't a great bunt. It was between the mound and home plate, but he beat it out. Russell throws him out. Montgomery gets some good defense. 1 on his own kick save. 2-0 Cubs. Baseball on Fox Sports Kansas City is brought to you by Jeep, the official vehicles of summer. Ian Kennedy was honored before today's game. The Bob Feller Act of Valor Award is the unique intersection of baseball and the U.S. Navy, recognizing and honoring those who support our nation's servicemen and women, and uses the Bob Feller story to educate the youth of today the lessons of citizenship, service to one's country, and sacrifice in times of great national need. And Ian is one of 13 nominees in Major League Baseball for that award.
Wow, congratulations. Ian's done a lot of work with the military over the years.
He and his wife Allison, every Saturday, using their own money only, host a group in one of the dugout suites on the first base side. That's inside the bag and up the left field line. Victor Caratini is on, but Alex Gordon got to it quickly, and Caratini is on with a single. He is 1 for 2.
A high fastball, a little late on the swing, but found a hole.
And for our young fans watching tonight, wondering about Bob Feller, he was a Hall of Fame pitcher who won 24 games one year, 27 games the next year, 25 the next year, and then left the game to join the U.S. military during World War II. Right in the prime of his career. 3 seasons, 1942, 1943, and 1944. He came back in 45 and pitched just 9 games. And then the next year, he won 26 games. Just basically picked up where he left off.
Natural talent. He could throw that ball through a brick wall. So, you know, in 1978, my rookie season in upstate New York, Bob Feller, he would come out and throw batting practice even at that age. Must have been in his 50s or something, with no screen in front of him. He would throw BP to the hitters. It was not for, it was before a game like an exhibition. What a great storyteller.
Well, let's see. He was 37 his last year. in 56. So what year did you say?
78.
78. So he was 59 when he was out there throwing to you.
And throwing hard too.
Left side again. That's Rizzo's first hit of the series. So the Cubs going against the shift, and they have 2 on and nobody out in the 5th inning.
That's some 94 on the outside part of the plate. Great job of going the other way, no doubt. If he tries to pull that, it's a little ground ball out. Waited. Both hitters have waited in this inning. Caratini and Rizzo, and hit the ball right where it was pitched.
And now a spot where he'd rather not see Javier Baez with 2 on and nobody out. He is singled and grounded out, and he leads the National League with 88 RBIs. Grounded to Butera, out at second. And Keller was there covering, but Mondesi didn't feel like there was a good chance to complete the double play, so he held on to the ball. Caratini goes to third, and Baez is at first with 1 out. We were telling you earlier about Baez leading the league in RBIs. He is 6th in stolen bases in the National League. So our Sprint trivia question: name the only National League player since 2010 to lead the league in RBIs and finish in the top 5 in stolen bases. One National Leaguer since 2010 led the league in RBIs and finished in the top 5 in steals.
Ooh. This is the first time in a long time we've had just one guy. Doesn't make it any easier. Baez needs 1 more for 20. I don't know if he'll get it on Salvi's watch.
Outside to Zobrist. He has Caratini at third base. Baez at first. Zobrist has doubled and walked and scored a run. Outside 2-0.
Keller being awfully quick home. With the meat of their order coming up, I don't think Baez is up for stealing a base, although if he does have one weakness, it could be he's a little bit carefree on the bases. And they don't think it's a weakness.
3 balls, no strikes. Hayward is on deck.
Bryce Harper.
I was thinking the same thing. I'll write him down.
Good speed. Power.
We always seem to miss Hanley Ramirez. I don't know if he was ever much of a stolen base threat. Former shortstop, though, so he could move around. But his name seems to pop up every now and then. What about Ryan Braun?
Great call. He was the MVP during that time, I think, sometime in there. How about Albert Pujols?
Top 5 in stolen bases.
All right, just throwing the name out.
All right.
Don't yell at me.
I'm not yelling at you.
I know.
Andrew McCutchen, did he ever lead the league in?
I don't know if those are. I think they're all legit.
3 balls, 1 strike. And then I wrote down Paul Goldschmidt. I think he runs well.
Okay.
Baez started to run and stopped. That'll be deep enough for Caratini to come down the line. Herrera plays it to third. So Zobrist gets a sacrifice fly, and Chicago leads 3-0.
So it looked like it had a little bit of spin on it. Could have been a slider. Zobrist got the job done. Now we might see Baez take off. A lot better situation. 2 outs. Trying to get in scoring position. Hungry to steal. Keller 1.2 to 1.35 home, which is a real quick time. Probably better get a good jump.
Ball 1 to Hayward. He's 0 for 2. He does have a run scored. What about Justin Upton? You ever lead the league in RBIs?
I don't know if he could steal like that. You know who I was thinking about? Who had a really good year but got overlooked. Then he's back again this year. How about Matt Kemp back in his day where he almost
good one.
How about he almost won the MVP, and I think that was the year Braun beat him out.
Baez has to improve one spot in the stolen base category. He was running, and Hayward busted his bat, but he's on with a base hit. Baez goes to third.
Little jam shot. 4-seamer. Elevation. Might have helped Salvi, but Hayward was on it. Didn't get deep this time, did Baez, like he did the first time.
And now David Bodie, who drove in 2 with 2 outs with a triple in the first inning.
Doubles type hitter. Ooh, man. Watch out there. Little ground ball out. Haven't seen, ball's been elevated a little bit. Haven't seen the ground ball rate like we're used to seeing from Keller.
Fouled away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
This kid's versatile right here. He's going to be a nice player in the future. He's a Joe Madden type player. What I mean by that is he can play third, short, second. You know, he's not a real speed burner, but he's a very nice athlete with some pop.
And he drives in another run. Both hits to the opposite field. 3 RBIs for the former Neosho County Panther.
94 right in the middle. Didn't try to do too much. That nice little flamingo leg kick. Puts it down. Good time. Beyond time, they say. Get the foot down. Stay through the ball.
And wears his wedding ring when he's on the field. And I was reading a story about him. He had quite a journey through the minor leagues and thought about quitting, and credits his wife Rachel for urging him to hang in there, and now he's a big leaguer.
Fantastic.
One ball and no strikes.
Well, if you want to get here and you persevered long enough, quit cannot be a word in your vocabulary.
And now 2-0 on Schwarber, whom Keller has struck out twice. And now Brian Flynn goes to work in the Royals bullpen. Keller has thrown 82 pitches. The Cubs have scored 3 of their 4 runs with 2 outs tonight. And all those runs were driven in by David Bodie.
Yep. Schwarber knows that he's gotten him twice with all fastballs. He's just laying off him now. Keller being a little bit too fine.
Hey! 3-1. And now 3-2. So with 2 outs, Hayward and Bodie will be running on this pitch. Lifted to shallow left center field, and Alex Gordon is there to end the inning. But the Cubs have their second 2-run inning. Zobrist and Bodie drive in runs. It is 4-0 Cubs.
For baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Wow, Javier Baez in the midst of a career year. Hopefully he'll outdo this year, but with the bat and the numbers he's putting up, and how about his defense? That play last night, these two here weren't routine. This kid's got an extreme talent, no doubt about it.
He played third base last night and made the defensive play of the game. And now shifting back over to second, where he spent most of this season. He's filling in at third because Cubs are doing just fine without Chris Bryant, their MVP third baseman, who's out for the second time this year with a bad left shoulder. Albert Almora Jr. has taken over in center field. Ian Happ, who was in center field, shifts over to left. So that's it for Ben Zobrist tonight. Back through the middle. Baez is waiting. guns it over to first base in time. Huskies 1 for 2. Enjoy a double play of savings with the new Summer Fun Pack from the Royals and Worlds of Fun. Pick any Royals game and also get a Worlds of Fun ticket, all at a discount. To learn more, visit royals.com/summerfun. Not much summer left for the kids. Right around 10 days until everyone's back in school.
But some fun, though, is left. Butera got into that one.
And that's Happ making the play. 2 outs. Drew is 0 for 2. Royals have 3 singles tonight against Mike Montgomery in 4 2/3 innings. He has walked 1. So if you update the numbers for Montgomery against the Royals, he has allowed 1 run in 21 innings. 0-1 on Merrifield.
Royals just aren't squaring the fastball up like we thought he might be able to. Happ's got 3 strikeouts, and all of them are on the changeup, swinging. Those are the 2 pitches that we talked about at the beginning of the game that have been his most effective. The changeup 141 coming in, and the curve 172. Been executing that down at the back leg of the righties, just right there. So he's been consistent.
Slider got away from him. Back in 2015, when Montgomery was pitching for Seattle, he shut out the Royals in just his 5th major league start. And then in his next start, he shut out the Padres. Back-to-back shutouts.
Remember, he was
that for your 5th and 6th major league starts.
Yeah, he was very impressive. He looked like a mid-season formed lefty. He had a little bit more giddy up on his fastball. But when I was talking to him yesterday, I asked him about that out, and when he looked so dominant, he said that was my come-out game right there. That was my coming-out game. That's when I knew I belonged.
Base hit for Witt. He is 1 for 3 tonight, and he's on with 2 outs. Let's go to Joel.
Well, I think we've told the story before that Witt's dad, Bill, played for Joe Madden when he was a professional in the minor leagues. So I exchanged messages with Bill today, and Bill said that back then Joe was more by the book because he was a young manager in A-ball and AA. He said, I wish I could have played for him once the reins were removed, but what I remember most is that from the get-go, he always told me, you're playing third and you're hitting third until you tell me that you're not. He said that meant everything to me because I didn't have to check the lineup every day. I knew I was going to be in there. I took care of that. I loved playing for that guy.
Watch your lips, Anthony Rizzo. Can't hit it harder than that, but Alex Gordon is out, and so are the Royals in the bottom of the 5th.
Join Fox Sports Kansas City at the Kansas City Marathon on Saturday, October 20th. Distance options include a 5K, 10K, and half and full marathons. All runners receive a shirt and finishers medals, along with free food and free beer after the race. Start your training and get registered at kcmarathon.org.
Brad Keller is back to work in the 6th inning. He's allowed 4 runs, 7 hits. The Cubs have scored 3 of their runs with 2 outs. Ball 1 to Ian Happ, who lined back to Keller in the 2nd inning. And he's also been on with a walk. Changeup. 1 ball, 1 strike. This is the lower third of the Cubs order. Two and 1. Cubs scored 2 in the 1st inning. David Bodie hit a 2-run triple, and then they scored 2 more in the 5th. Ben Zobrist had a sac fly, and David Bodie drove in another run. Four runs gives the Cubs a National League high 564. And that gives Brad Keller his 4th strikeout of the night. Ian Happ, he made no contact last night. He struck out 4 times.
Took that one looking. 4-seamer up.
And now Addison Russell. Slider in for strike 1. One ball, 1 strike. Good pitch in on his hands. And that got some of Salvi. Or did it get the home plate umpire? I think it got Doug Eddings. Mondesi charges, throws in time. He's got some range, and he's got the arm.
Yep. Nice speed. He's able to show off on plays like that. I mean, there's not a better place to show off than in the big leagues when you got people watching. That's a great place. There's no, you know, it's hit it to my left, hit it to my right. Maybe hit a little dribbler in front of me. Let me show you what I got.
Victor Caratini got the 2-run 5th inning started with a base hit to left field. Beating the overshift. He just shot one in between Escobar and the 3rd baseline. And then Rizzo came up and he beat the shift and went the other way for a hit. And now a pop up to Escobar. 3 up, 3 down. So Keller goes 6. He gives up 4. And the Royals have the heart of the order coming up in the bottom of the 6th. Brad Keller was hurt tonight by David Bodie, who's driven in 3 of the 4 runs with 2 outs, and filling in at third base with Chris Bryant on the disabled list. Salvador Perez leads off our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Ryan Gettler from Garnett. If the Royals hit a home run out of the park in this inning, Ryan wins $600. And if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Ryan wins $25 grand from Sonic and the Royals. So far tonight, the Royals have 4 singles against Mike Montgomery. And a big curveball's in for a strike. Salvi has 1 of those hits. Perez, Escobar, Gordon, and Merrifield have singles, and that's it.
Well, in my opinion, Mike Montgomery is pitching one heck of a game. He's got his good command. He's got his best stuff. He's locating. He hasn't missed too many times in the middle. Like as advertised, we talked about that fastball getting hit at a 345 clip coming in. That's the 3rd highest in Major League Baseball. Haven't seen him miss too much in there, and he's been effectively placing his changeup and breaking ball. We knew he was good with those. So he's not giving you anything to hit with a fastball. That's what you're seeing right here. A well-pitched game.
Got on top of a high fastball, and Bodie throws out Sal. Let's go to Joel.
All right, Ryan, let's take a look at another minor leaguer in our minor league spotlight. And Kelvin Gutierrez was one of 3 players that came over in the Kelvin Herrera trade. You see what he has done the last 12 games. He got off to a slow start, and talking to some folks in the organization, they said that part of that might have just been the transition. He had only ever been in one organization since he was a teenager with the Washington Nationals. He's been much better late. Good arm, strong kid. He's got power. They've also played him some at shortstop to get a look at him there too, but mostly a third baseman, and the Royals very pleased with his progress.
Good to see some numbers on offense. The first thing we heard is that his glove was ahead of his bat.
Yeah. Too bad for Cheslor Cuthbert this year. You know what? Back's messed up, having some issues with it. Couldn't get an opportunity to show what he could do.
Ended up finding a fracture in his lower back.
Oof.
So that's the bad news. The good news is at least they have an idea of what was keeping him out.
And how to treat it.
We hear, a couple more weeks and he should be back, and then, well, a few more weeks and then they'll get him going again, and just could not get it going. And now they know what's wrong, hoping that that will heal up during the offseason.
Yeah, Ryan, that was a big setback for him, but talking to Nick Kenny, when I was talking to him about Jorge Soler today, he said good news on Cuthbert. He's been cleared to start some activities in Arizona, so he'll begin his progression now to head back.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
And that, for me, I mean, sure, the Royals record is what it is, but I've always maintained the most painful thing about this year is the at-bats that were missed by Cuthbert, Bonifacio, and Soler.
I agree.
Because at least, if anything, you go into 2019 and you have a much better idea of what you have from those 3 guys. But we'll still be answering those questions next year.
There's one that got away.
Yeah, why not? Why not fire one up the screen every now and then?
That's right.
And Dozier draws his 2nd walk, and those are the only 2 allowed by Montgomery.
Fans, bring your 4-legged Royals fans to the game with you on Wednesday. That's right, we'll take them August 15th with a special Bark at the Park theme. Purchase your tickets at royals.com/theme tickets in order to receive a Royals branded bandana. Theme ticket.
Big rip by Herrera. He's 0 for 2 on a couple of nice defensive plays. Baez from second, running out into right field. grabbing a pop up, and then Herrera hit one hard at the middle. That went off of Montgomery's shoe and ricocheted over to Russell. Russell threw him out. One ball, two strikes. The Cubs have the best record in the National League, but their lead is just a game and a half over Milwaukee. And so, you know, from a Royals point of view, you go, man, what kind of problems could you possibly have? Well, if you want to get back to the World Series again, you're always evaluating your team under a microscope, and the Cubs starting pitching has not been great this year. Chopped to third, and the play is to first, so Herrera's out and Dozier goes to second. The Cubs starters ERA is 9th in the National League. Talked about Yu Darvish being out.
Yep.
With a biceps issue. Cole Hamels has been really good in his 2 starts, and now Mike Montgomery is pitching well tonight, so that'll ease some tension.
Yep. John Lester's a beast.
He's struggled lately.
Yep. Still big game pitcher, though. You're not afraid to give him the ball.
Here's Bonifacio. He's 0 for 2. Pitcher who had a lot of playoff experience for the Cubs, Jake Arrieta, is no longer with them, so there was a hole even before the season started.
And they're missing their closer. Morrow.
Brandon Morrow. I thought you were referring to Wade Davis. I was going to say,
well,
he's not their closer. He's our closer.
No, Morrow, they've lost him for a couple of stints this year. I'm going to say what else. Madden was telling me about that when I was asking him about his bullpen guys. But he said, hey, plenty of depth there. I got 5 guys that could close for me.
Which is actually not a bad thing to have, because as we learned in the playoffs how important bullpens are, and deep bullpens are, and if you've got 5 guys who can close out games, that's Carl Edwards Jr. warming up, you got all those guys that get some experience in the second half of the season closing out games. That's a nice little tune-up before the playoffs.
Absolutely. It can only help you. And Edwards Jr. is one of them. Wow.
6 scoreless innings for Mike Montgomery, and he's given up 1 run in 22 innings in his career against the Royals.
For the Miller hold true moment, David Bodie. he's taking care of the numbers tonight. He's knocked in 3 out of the 4. Went from 11 RBIs to 14 on the season. Timely hit. That was a nice one as well. Last night it was Javi Baez who scores a run there. Tonight it's David Bodie.
Here's our game summary. Mike Montgomery has 6 scoreless innings. Brad Keller went 6 and gave up 4 runs. Cubs scored 2 in the first and 2 in the 5th. Now Brian Flynn is a Chevy call to the bullpen. He'll get the top of the order. Flynn pitched in last night's game, coming on in the 8th inning and allowing a run to score that scored after he departed.
Heavy, hard fastball down, likes to sink it. Slider, change, curve.
One and one on Rizzo, who is 1 for 3 with an opposite field single. The Royals have him played to pull, but Rizzo went the other way. Back in the 5th. 2-1. So Escobar, who is playing at third tonight, is in his natural position right now with the overshift. Three and 1. And a base hit through the overshift. So Rizzo is 2 for 4. And now Javier Baez, who led us into our sprint trivia question. Baez leads his league in RBIs. He's in the top 6 in stolen bases. Who's the only National Leaguer since 2010 to lead the league in RBIs and finish in the top 5 in steals? We both thought of Bryce Harper.
Okay, we have some good names. I think we should go from the ones that we don't think are on the list. I don't think Alberts should be on there. I don't think he had the steals.
No.
Okay, so cross him off.
All right, we also had Braun, McCutchen, Goldschmidt, Upton, and Kemp.
I don't think McCutchen was on there either, but
okay. Off the end of the bat. And of course, Ryan Flynn comes into the game, and we get a ground ball double play. That's his 15th, which leads all major league relievers.
Big downhill angle at 6'7". He uses it with the best of them. Baez hustling down the line, but that was a roll him up ham and eggs.
All right, we're running out of time.
Okay,
we agree on Bryce Harper, don't we?
I think Harper.
All right, Bryce Harper. Strike 1.
I like Braun or Kemp, to tell you the truth.
Ryan Braun. Strike 2.
We have 1 out. We have 1 out to go and one strike
out to go. You don't like McCutchen?
No.
Which is fine. Goldschmidt, Upton,
nope.
or Kemp?
I like Kemp. I don't know. He had a great year, and he should have won the MVP, but they didn't give it to him. He was heartbroken.
Matt Kemp. Correct.
Hey. Ding, 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 ding.
Rex Hudler, ladies and gentlemen.
No, hey, that's Brian Flynn. Maybe we can get him a win.
Let's look at his Pizza Ranch for the win pitching line. He has 6 scoreless innings. And now in his career against the Royals, 4 games, 3 starts, he has allowed 1 run in 22 1/3 innings.
It's pretty impressive.
Royals have had 2 runners in scoring position tonight. And he really only struggled in 1 inning. In the first, Merrifield led off and hit a rope to left field and lined out. And now Mondesi drops one into center field. He's 1 for 3. And then Gordon flied to the warning track after Merrifield in the first. 2 hard hit outs, and then Salvador Perez hit one right on the nose and singled. Dozier walked. And then Herrera blooped one to shallow right. Baez made a nice running play and ended that threat. And that's really the only time that Montgomery has had to sweat it out tonight. And now at 95 pitches, Joe Madden is going to point to his bullpen.
Well, he has his share of wristbands, doesn't he?
Always active in the community, whether he's been with the Rays or the Cubs. Carl Edwards Jr. is a Chevy call to the bullpen. Off the 7th with a single. That's the only time tonight the Royals have had their leadoff man on against Montgomery. So he's out. Carl Edwards Jr. is in. Alcides Escobar is coming up. And we remind you, if the Royals hit a triple in tonight's game, the Kansas City Honda dealers will make a $1,000 donation to the KC Urban Youth Academy. Escobar had one of the 5 singles against Montgomery.
Escobar, he has a couple of triples this year. Great to see him hit the gap, watching Mondesi run. Any gapper for that matter. Edwards Jr., this guy, he's got electric stuff. That's a nice little overhand 12-6 curveball. 91-97 fastball with some life. He cuts it. Got some late life action in the changeup. Doesn't throw a whole lot of changeups, but he will occasionally to left-handers. Opponents doing hardly anything against him. Look at that ERA. Madden was right. He's got Cishek, Strop, Edwards Jr., Kinsler, and Wilson. All of them could close. Look at that. That's a buckler right there. And you know, you wonder, it's 6'3", 170 pounds, how he gets that. Kind of reminds me of a young oil can Boyd.
When he stands sideways, you can hardly see him.
Right. But he has leverage. He's got great mechanics. Comes right over the top, and he's in good athlete.
And I feel like I'm watching a high school game. And number 6, the shortstop, comes in to pitch the 7th inning. You don't see, well, first of all, he's not built like your typical pitcher, and you don't see many pitchers with a single digit.
Right.
Doesn't he look like he should be either a shortstop or a center fielder?
With that number especially. Certainly can bring it. A nice talent. He got numbers to match it. We just saw him.
.95 miles an hour, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Talked about Madden's bullpen and the flexibility he has, even without his closer. It's going to help him into the playoffs. Hopefully they can go deep. He's hoping.
Three balls, 2 strikes. The Cubs got Edwards from the Texas Rangers 5 years ago, and Carl Edwards was drafted in the 48th round. That's a round that no longer exists. And now Escobar's on, and the Royals have 2 on and nobody out. Little note on Edwards in that late round. As of the end of last year, he is one of 5 active big league players drafted that late. One of whom is Gerard Dyson, who was taken in the 50th round by the Royals.
Yep, I was going to bring him up. Just not a lot of.
And then another one was Vidal Nuno, who played part of his college career at Baker University. 2 on, nobody out. Drew Butera takes a fastball upstairs.
See if somebody can get a big hit, get him in this game, get the Royals fans into it. Be nice. They were in last night's game. They missed a couple of big hits.
Got a pop up to the left side. And they call the infield fly rule. Bodie brings it down, 1 away. Brandon Maurer gets ready for the top of the 8th inning. Talking about 6'3", 170 pounds, Hud.
Yep. That's what I got him listed at.
Carl Edwards Jr. His Twitter handle at the very end has SB as in boy, SBS, which stands for String Bean Slinger.
That's pretty good.
That's his nickname.
I like it.
String Bean Slinger. Slinger, another kind of a throwback term for a pitcher. So he accepted it as part of his Twitter handle.
It's nice to laugh in a Royals down 4-0, but that's funny.
1-1 on Witt.
Wouldn't mind being a string bean and have an arm like his. Man, he's blessed. But see if the Royals can hit a gapper. That's what they're looking for. Alex Gordon, he's on deck. He's a threat. So is Merrifield. Top of the order coming.
First time the Royals have had more than 1 runner on in an inning since the first.
Yeah, and Edwards Jr. is off a little bit. His arm's dragging behind. His lower half's out a little bit ahead of it. Missing high in the zone. He can't get on top. Stay down. Talk about that shoulder right there. Do you see? Caratini tapping that left shoulder, saying, hey, look, that's the key. Want that shoulder coming north and south right towards me. Hey, Royals fans, if you can't catch a game on TV, you can stream games live on your mobile device. Download the Fox Sports Go app, log in, and stream the Royals.
Runners go, and Mondesi steals third. Escobar was kind of an afterthought going to second base, and it probably would have been an easier play to go to second. Mondesi got a great break, but the Royals pull off a double steal.
The lead stealer on a double steal, he's the one that goes on his own, and then the second trail runner has to react to it, so he's always going to be a step behind. Caratini chose to try to get Mondesi, and it didn't work, so let's see if Whitley can knock him in. Been hitting .288 with a runner in scoring position this year.
Got the fastball he wanted. 3 balls, 2 strikes. So 2 more stolen bases for the Royals. They have 19. That's the most in the major leagues. Mondesi has 7 of them. Brandon Kinsler begins to warm up in the Cubs bullpen. He pitched the 8th inning last night.
Got a look heater, adjust to Uncle Charlie.
And Edwards comes back from 3-1 to get a strikeout, 2 down.
Stayed firm, and that's on the outer half, a tough place to get good wood on. This was right by him. That's pretty late moving life to his fastball.
Alec Gordon is 1 for 3, but his 2 outs are a line drive to the warning track in left, and maybe the hardest hit ball of the night when he lined out to first in the 5th. Curveball dips low, ball 1.
Yeah, this is a good matchup right here. Alex has been swinging a great bat. Haven't seen him swing this good in a couple of years. This is really a good opportunity for him. He has no trouble turning on a fastball. Give him one.
And the home plate umpire Doug Eddings saying, yeah, he did, meaning he swung. 1 ball, 1 strike.
This is where the catcher in tonight's game, it's Victor Caratini. He knows the scouting report. He's the one who's going to really help Edwards Jr. through this here. He knows that Alex has been swinging a good bat, and his ears are still ringing from a couple of those line drives he's hit, so they don't want to give him anything straight.
Shallow left. Ian Happ running in, and he's got it.
All
Well, promising start. 2 on, nobody out, but Edwards gets in and out of it, and the Cubs lead 4-0.
Stadium as we get ready for the top of the 8th. Joel Goldberg, Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery, and the offense suddenly has gone quiet, thanks in part to another lefty and a familiar one.
Yeah, having 3 lefties coming into the series, I really thought tonight might be the best opportunity for the Royals to get to those lefties. Unfortunately, Mike Montgomery had his A game going.
The former Royal doing it again against his original team. We'll talk about that, Brad Keller's outing, here from Ned Yost, and much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Ryan and Hud.
Thank you, Joel. It'll be Hayward, Bodie, and Schwarber in the top of the 8th inning. And the Royals will send Brandon Maurer to the hill, who has 4 consecutive scoreless outings. In his 4 outings prior to that, he had allowed 9 runs.
Yep, he's made an adjustment. One of it was a mental adjustment, and the other is carrying his glove a little bit closer to his body. He's holding that shoulder a little bit tighter, focusing on the corners. Let the ball move away from the hitter, just like that. Good action. He's got anywhere from 90 to 98 to 100 we've seen. 6'6", 230, slider changeup.
Hayward is 1 for 3. He scored a run back in the first inning. Two and 2. Cubs scored 2 in the first inning. David Bodie tripled with 2 outs, and then 2 more in the 5th. Ben Zobrist had a sac fly, and then David Bodie again with 2 outs drove in a run with a single. Ben Zobrist, by the way, we found out when he did not return on defense for the bottom of the 5th inning, left with left hip tightness. That's deep to left field and into the corner, and Alex has room. 1 away in the 8th. And here is David Bodie with his 3 RBIs. And Brad Keller almost got out of the first inning without allowing a run, but then Bodie on a first pitch slider turned in our Jeep drive of the game.
Yeah, he's an excellent gap-to-gap type hitter. He found a big gap here at the K. Bonifacio, too bad. He took a perfect route to that ball, just tipped off his glove.
.97 in for a strike, and his 3rd RBI tonight was a base hit the other way. So he's hitting .344 in his 30th game. He has been up and down, and I don't mean his numbers, I mean he literally has been up and down all year. This is the 5th time he's been with the Cubs this season. So back and forth between Chicago and Des Moines, where the Cubs have their AAA team.
Got to ride that roller coaster. That's tough for a lot of guys. We've got 3 options. They'll use 1 a year, up and down, up and down. But he's done well with his opportunities, hitting .328 coming in. .344 now for those 2 hits tonight.
.100 miles an hour, but up and out of the strike zone. Brian Flynn pitched the 7th and gave up 1 hit, no runs. He got another ground ball double play. Bodie is on with 1 out. Brian Flynn has gotten 15 double plays. That's the most of all major league relievers. Our 2nd annual healthcare services night is back here at Kauffman Stadium a week from tonight. Purchase your theme ticket to receive an exclusive Cherokee brand Royals scrub top and watch the Royals take on the Blue Jays at 7:15. And you can get that theme ticket right now at Royals.com/theme tickets. Fouled back by Schwarber. He was 0 for 3 against Brad Keller. Brad struck him out twice with fastballs. One and one.
What the hell is that face? What's wrong? Oh, that was a good wave.
That is that outside the stadium? It is. That little guy just wants to go home.
Can you wave?
Yep. It's time.
I think I heard someone say, what kind of a face is that? I think that's a when are we going home face. Schwarber hits a shot into right field. That'll get Bodie to third. And put runners at first and third with one out.
Setting on the fastball. It's right belt high. Schwarber was on top of it. He gets underneath it. That's a different story.
Ian Happ takes a slider for a strike. Happ is 0 for 2 with a walk.
Slider's been an effective pitch for Morrow. That might put him in the lane here. Keep it down.
Two balls, one strike. And that fastball's hit hard to center field. Herrera gets behind it, and he'll play it to second base. Ian Happ gives the Cubs a 5-0 lead with a sacrifice fly.
Trying to keep it down, that four-seamer. He was working it there, but Hapka had a little lift to it. Good, easy, nice little follow-through swing. Did the job.
Strike one on Addison Russell. No balls, two strikes. I had Holtze look it up. Mauer's swing and miss percentage on his fastball is 17%, which sounds low, but the league average is 19%. But he doesn't have an average fastball. Oh, I mean 96 to 100. That even today, that is not an average fastball, and that's how his fastball goes. So goes Brandon Mauer.
Yeah, and just would like a little bit better command of it. But it seems like his slider is his more effective out pitch.
Maybe he needs to throw that more.
Yep.
There's a slider that's pulled foul. 27,883 are here tonight. We had a short rain delay last night, and then it rained into the early afternoon today, but what was left behind was a beautiful night. mid 80s. Humidity down somewhat. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And this will be the 27th pitch of the inning for Mauer. Schwarber runs, and it's fouled off of Salvador Perez. Schwarber runs, and it is inside for a walk. So Cal Eldred calls down to the Royals bullpen. Vance Wilson is on the other end. Hayward flied out, and then Mauer walked David Bodie. Schwarber singled. Happ hit a sacrifice fly, and now Russell walks. And here's Victor Caratini, 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored in the 5th inning. Got the call on a pitch that appeared to be off the plate. Here's Jason Adam with Vance Wilson over his shoulder. One ball, 1 strike. One-time Royal Jesse Chavez has taken over for Brandon Kinsler now that we're not in a save situation. Butera feeds Mauer, and that ends the inning. So the Cubs add a run. The Royals are down to their last 6 outs on offense. They'll face Jesse Chavez down 5-0. Keith Philmeyer will get the start tomorrow against Jose Quintana. And then the Royals will see another lefty when they begin the Royals-Cardinals series on Friday. So 4 lefties in a row. Philmeyer and Quintana tomorrow night. 5-0 Cubs. They scored 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 5th, and 1 in the 8th. And now Jesse Chavez, who pitched for the Royals in parts of 2010 and 2011. He'll come on to get Perez, Dozier, and Herrera.
Jesse's going to come out with a nice two-seam sinking fastball. He cuts that curve slider change. He's got all four. And you know, you mentioned another lefty coming. The Royals have dropped their last 9 games and facing left-handed starters. They've got to stop that. They've got to get that going. Bust a left-hander.
Fastball low to Salvador Perez. He singled back in the first inning. He is 1 for 3. Caratini wanted an appeal, but home plate umpire Doug Eddings ruled that Salvi went too far. 1 ball, 1 strike. And now 1-2. Jesse Chavez is built very similar to Carl Edwards Jr., who pitched the 7th inning. He signed with the Texas Rangers a long time ago, 16 years ago, in the 42nd round. 5'11", 130 pounds.
Yeah, wow.
130 pounds in pro ball. Well, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He's grown a little bit height-wise. I got him listed at 6'2" now. But he's 34 years in his 9th year in the big leagues.
He was actually drafted by the Cubs out of high school in the 39th round, but went to college and hoped to go higher, but that did not happen. He went in the 42nd round. Grounded out to Bodie. 1 out.
MLB At Bat is your #1 Royals app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Royals home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today.
Hunter Dozier swings and fouls the first pitch away. He's been on base twice, but those were walks. So this might be a last chance for him to extend his hitting streak, which is at a career high 7. One and 2. Willie Peralta hasn't had any save opportunities in a while. He was in the game briefly Sunday at Minnesota. Now he'll come on for the top of the 9th inning. Dozier is out on strikes. 2 outs in the 8th.
Wow. I agree with him. That might have been a little bit low.
Jesse Chavez has pitched for the Pirates, Braves, Royals, Blue Jays, A's, Blue Jays again, Angels, Dodgers, Rangers, and now the Cubs.
Man, good for him.
He was with the A's the longest, parts of 5 years.
Yeah, and you know, usually that's a left-handed pitcher that gets that kind of movement, but those left-handers, they stay around a long time. Chavez, he's kept himself in good shape and has good life to his arm, his pitches.
There's a base hit into center field for Herrera. He's 1 for 4. And he was Chavez, always one of those guys who had the big arm, but didn't translate into much. Here are his ERAs, Hud, his first several years in the big leagues. 6.6, 4.01, 5.8, 5.8, 10.5, 8.4, 18.9, and then the A's turned him into a starter, and he had to learn how to pull back just a little bit, pace himself, concentrate on all of his pitches, and that was a move that turned his career around, and he's had a long career. Jesse Chavez to the ninth, 5-0 Cubs. Baseball on Fox Sports Kansas City is brought to you by Ford. Going further so you can. 5-0 Chicago. They took game one last night 3-1. Top of the ninth inning. Willie Peralta will take over for the Royals. And there's our Pepsi fan of the game. I've never seen that crown before.
It's a nice one.
Inflatable.
That's right. He's into it.
Heck yeah, he's got his eye black on. Yeah.
He believes in a Royals comeback.
Willie Peralta will get the top of the order. He last pitched on Sunday and came on to get the final out of the inning. And Air Ray Adrianza tried to bunt on him, and Salvador Perez made a Gold Glove play on him.
Yep, that was nice. Very athletic. Peralta has a good breaking ball there, and a mid-90s, maybe a little bit higher fastball, changeup.
Oh, 2 on Rizzo. Brad Keller went 6 and gave up 4. Brian Flynn pitched the 7th. Brandon Maurer pitched the 8th and allowed a run, and now Peralta down by his feet, 1-2.
Sure, we'll hear from Keller, Boulevard Royals Live after the game. I'd like to hear about what he thought about his game tonight outside of those 2 pitches in the first inning. I thought he did okay.
One out in the 9th.
Good pitch, got him off balance. That's the whole idea. And he's holding it with a little split finger grip.
Javier Baez inside at 97 miles an hour. He's 1 for 4 with a run scored. 1 ball, 1 strike. Peralta really only started pitching out of the bullpen last year. Half of his big league appearances were out of the pen. He also made 13 appearances in the minor leagues, all out of the bullpen. So this is still new to him, but he's 6 for 6 in save opportunities. He did not have a good spring training and did not make the club out of camp. And it took him a while to get here.
But he's taking advantage of his opportunity.
Popped up a mile high. And Salvi made the play. Baez was trying to be a nice guy and pick up his mask, and then Salvi almost backed into him, which would not have been very nice.
No. But we all know the modern game is a nice game now. And it's safer for the players.
All-star starters this year. Baez at second base for the National League. And a pop-up. That's Almora's first at-bat. Merrifield makes the play. We head to the bottom of the 9th. The Cubs lead the Royals 5-0. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Club. Ryan Lefevre, Rex Hudler with Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery. They're coming up on Boulevard Royals Live with our director Steve Kurtenbach, producer Kevin Cedergren, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and Dave Holtzman. And the producer of Royals Live is Casey Carter. This is cleanly shaven Justin Wilson.
Yep. And another one of those quote-unquote closer relievers. He's got great stuff. It's in his 6th year in the majors, 92 to 99. He's got a lot of heat on that fastball. He likes to cut it, slider, curve, change. He's got great life to the pitch.
Mondesi is 1 for 3 with a single in the 7th inning, continuing a trend for him. He is hitting .261 overall this year, but in the 7th inning or later, he's hitting .357. And you say, well, what does that mean? Well, it may mean nothing. Or in today's game, you come in the 7th inning or later, you're facing the other team's best relievers. And so it's a sign that Mondesi is hitting good pitching.
Yep, that's what Mondi would tell you. I'm hitting the best.
And I think if you wanted to break it down further, you know, if he's having trouble against starters, you know, there's going to be guys that are going to be mixing a lot of pitches and changing speeds, where from the 7th inning on, you got guys that are just going to come right at you.
That's a good point, especially the Royals this season have been down late in games. Scores a little bit higher than the opponents, they're going to come after you. He's a good fastball hitter. In order to survive at this level, you've got to be able to hit that pitch for sure. That's the bread and butter.
So maybe that's what that means.
See, he gets knocked here.
Or maybe I just ate too many ramen noodles in high school.
No, I like the logic.
That's well hit to center field, but right at Almora, who hardly had to move. Justin Wilson went from the Tigers with Alex Avila last year to the Cubs, and it was a good deal for Detroit. They got a long-term solution at third base. Jeimer Candelario went from the Cubs to the Tigers in that deal. And we see quite a bit of him. Strike to Escobar. It was a better deal for the Tigers and the Cubs. Wilson really struggled once he got to Chicago. ERA was over 5. And now 3.3 coming into tonight.
Rarely do you see a guy deal when he changes teams, especially for the first time. It's just hard, new environment. And when you go from the National League or American League to the National League, Cubs, that's a launching pad depending on the wind. The wind blows out certain days, blows in. Give me an eye opener. Yeah, good change.
He is out of Fresno State, Hud.
Yeah, I know all about him. He was a winning pitcher, the World Championship, or excuse me, the College Championship game against Georgia.
Escobar shoots it foul.
Went 8 innings and struck out 9 and only gave up 1 run. Bulldogs won their first ever NCAA title. 08.
Born in Anaheim, so he probably grew up watching you and Fizz.
I don't know. I've talked to him before. His father's friends with a lot of my buddies from Fresno. But
is that a good thing?
Yeah, I think so. That's a good family, close community. Central San Joaquin Valley. It's hard to win a national title in anything, but baseball especially.
Squirted off the end of the bat, and there are 2 down. Speaking of Fizz, sitting there broadcasting the game with Denny. It was 14 years ago today that Denny Matthews was inducted into the Royals Hall of Fame.
Oh, it was.
A day I'll never forget.
Yeah, you got to go. Fantastic.
And then 3 years later, inducted into the broadcasters wing in Cooperstown. One on Butera. He is 0 for 3. Well, we have dueling chants right now that is coming out as "Let's go Roybees."
Well, they've stayed, they're happy, and that's all that matters, the paying customer.
Up the third base side and just foul. Royals are playing game 2 of a 10-game homestand. The Cubs are actually in the middle of a long stretch of games at home, 19 out of 27. They come to Kansas City and then they go right back to Chicago. Fastball struck him out, and the Cubs have taken the first 2 games of the series. Last night 3-1. Tonight, behind the bat of David Bodie, who drove in 3, all with 2 outs. And then Montgomery, Edwards, Chavez, and Wilson pitch a combined 6-hit shutout.
Yeah, Mike Montgomery, he was on top of his game. Gave the Royals absolutely no chance.
We will return.